Hey, what is going on, IK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. We are back again for another Infinity Kingdom video. Today we're going to be taking a look at our boy YSG, aka Raiden-sama, and we are going to be breaking down his most used ToK skills. As you can see, we're trying to be a little more efficient with having to press less buttons, which is why you can already see some of the skills from some of the servers up. As always, before we do a full dive in, make sure you guys sub to the channel, hit the like button, and of course, make sure to ring that notification bell so you guys can get updates on when we have new content coming out. Okay, so here it is. We went up to S19. The interesting thing that I find about doing these data pulls, as most of you know, right, we only pull from 160k troop power minimums, and we only do it for main element marches, which means you have to be running at minimum 3 of the same element plus the same elemental water dragon, right? So we only have like a 1 flex pick margin of error, but that always makes up a minority of the data that we pull for each of the immortals. So the interesting thing is I find that, and because you can tell how often when you're looking at main marches, right, how many servers are potentially running a main march depending on how high you go up, right? For some of the other elements, we've gone up as high as 30, 40, even 45. For some other ones, right, we might have gone as high as 12 or 16, right? And so I think when you see this at like a 19, you can tell, right, there's probably a good chance that there's multiple other servers or more servers than other immortals that are being ran, and that's always going to depend too as well if they're free to play or if they're gated. That's always going to be a big factor. And then if they are gated, right, how sought after are they depending on their price point, right? So there's a lot of factors that do go into that. Now let's talk about the top 4 most used ToK skills here for our boy Yi Seong-gye, if I even said that correct. It sounded right flowing off. Energy suppression being used 9 times for number 4. Number 3 most used ToK skill is Death Breath, coming in at 10 times used. Number 2 is Anger, same thing, tied for number 2 really, which would kind of put energy suppression at 1 or at 3. And then the most used ToK skill on YSG is Chaotic Blade at 13 times, right? So almost about a third. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our boy YSG. Let's look at his skill, we'll break down stats, and we're going to take a look at the ToK skills for the top 3 most used, and then give you our thoughts on them. Heavenly Conquering is YSG's skill. And you could see here, inflicts transfer to 2 random enemy units, right? So he transfers stats from 2 random enemy units. The stats that he transfers to himself are 20% physical magical attack and physical magical defense. So you have physical magical attack and defense, 20% of those stats from 2 enemy units, random, he transfers those to himself. So he's essentially giving those 2 random units a debuff, and then causing or inflicting physical damage up to 500%, starting at 150. And the transfer lasts 10 seconds. So not only is he doing damage, but the 2 random enemy units are doing less attack, and they're taking a little bit more damage for those 10 seconds as well. So again, I'm going to be honest, I really like YSG's skill. It's wild, kind of just looking at Lightning and reading some of the skill sets. It kind of lines up with what I see for some of like the Fire Immortals. Like I think Hippolyta just has such a fantastic skill with it just being like so OP in a lot of ways. And you look at someone like YSG's skill, it looks really good, right? Someone like Charles, it just has like such a high absorb that he can do, right? I mean, these types of immortals, you look at them and you're like, wow, that skill is really good overall. Even someone like Empress Wu, right, which has high damage output. But anyways, now let's look at YSG's stats. Strength is 224.6, intelligence 197, physical attack 751, 350, right, more than double. And then you look at physical defense 337. Magical defense is stronger than physical defense. So YSG kind of excels here, physical attack, and then magic defense, right? So these are really interesting when you look at some of the stats, but still more physical based. Now let's look at the ToK skills, and we're going to start with Death Breath. Oh my god, where's the skull? I always forget here. I'm always thinking to myself, is it a dragon that's breathing fire? No, it's not. Death Breath. Every 6 seconds causes physical damage, damage rate to all enemy units, and magical damage once. Right. So every 6 seconds causes physical damage to all enemy units and magical damage once, right? The damage rate is 22.5 up to 75%. So, again, right, physical damage scaling off of that physical attack and some of the other stats there from YSG. But again, it plays into YSG's higher physical attack than his magical attack. And given Death Breath's rate, I mean, it makes sense, right, if you're putting this on someone who's a little bit more physical attack focused, right, so damage can scale a little bit more appropriately, right? Now, the other thing as well is that, remember, right, your skill damage itself, and this is separate, but your skill damage, right, factors off of, right, how many troops you have left in that Immortal's March, right, which is a factor of how much base damage you're doing from the skill, not indicative of what you can add on to it from other skills. Okay, now let's talk about Anger. Okay, I think Anger is the purple one with the fist. That's Adrenaline Rush. Here we go. Anger increases your physical damage by 9% in battles. This goes up to 30%. I think Anger complements YSG pretty well, and this makes sense in a lot of ways. And I wonder if YSG is even on here. Oh, he is. See, look. Chaotic Blade. Here we go. Every 6 seconds after battle starts has a 40% chance of causing physical damage with a rate of 45% up to 150 to 3 random enemy units, and also inflicting bleed for 6 seconds, dealing physical damage to the targets, a damage rate of 22.5% up to 75% once every 3 seconds. So every 6 seconds after the battle starts, which puts you at 6, 12, 18, so on and so forth, you have a 40% chance of causing physical damage and inflicting bleed, right? So in order for both of those additionals to proc, right, it's only going to be at a 40% chance rate. But every 6 seconds, you'll have a shot to inflict Chaotic Blade. So, again, I think this plays, again, the physical damage plays in well. I think the bleed can play in well, right? Keep in mind, with these kind of DOT, damage over time skills, it's important that you're putting these types of skills that you want to try and proc multiple times throughout a battle on Immortals that are going to have the highest chance of sustaining themselves throughout a fight, meaning they're going to live longer, right, if you want to get more value out of these types of skills. So overall, I think the skill usage is good. Again, I haven't used YSG too much myself to kind of let you know what my personal picks are, but based on the top 3 most used skills, I would say they do play well into YSG's skill set. Outside of that, let me know what you guys think in those comments down below, right? Do you like these top 3 most used skills with Chaotic Blade, Anger, and Death Breath going 1, 2, and 3? Do you find other skills work a little bit more appropriately for YSG that you have liked through trial and error? Let me know anything and everything you guys are thinking. That is it for us on YSG. We got 2 more. I think we got Genghis and then El Cid, which El Cid is coming to be somewhat difficult to try and pull. I'm going to see how high we're going to have to go to try and get up to 45 data pulls for him. Wild stuff. All right, I'm out. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later.